Welcome to Progress Theory, a podcast where I explore what it takes for a human being to actually change and transform in hopes that doing so will help create growth in both my life and yours. Today, I'm going to be exploring how to learn from other people without sacrificing your autonomy, because it seems like it's very easy to become subservient and controlled by others when looking to them for guidance. That brings us to the central question of this episode. How can we effectively learn from other people while still remaining the ultimate authority on what we believe and what we do? This has been something that has been very much so overtaking my week. It has been all I've been thinking about for the last couple of days. I am trying to build a company, I'm trying to build a brand, and I'm doing so as someone who has never built a company successfully, has never built a brand. I don't know how to build a company. I don't know how to build a brand. And so naturally, I am trying to learn from other people. I am trying to pay with my time and attention and my money to learn from people who have done what I want to do so that I can speed up the process and learn how to actually build a business. And in doing so, I've gotten a lot of advice that is pushing me in a direction I'm not sure I want to go. I've gotten feedback saying what I'm currently doing is not going to work when I don't fully agree. And it has caused a lot of distress and uncertainty and confusion. And I think the question of how can you learn from others effectively without sacrificing autonomy is deceptively difficult to answer. Because the initial answer, the one I came to a while back, was stop trying to pretend like I know more than these people and just do what they tell me to do. Because they have proven that they know what they're talking about and I don't. That was my solution to learning, was to just stop, shut up, humble myself, take action on what I'm told to do. But I don't think that is an effective solution because that can quickly result in you completely sacrificing your own vision and beliefs and values to other people. And I think there are multiple things that make this process difficult. The first thing about our world in general is that there is an absolute ridiculous abundance of information out there telling us to do everything in very contradictory ways. You can find somewhere on the internet, you can find someone telling you to do this very specific thing to accomplish this specific solution, and they are saying it with a lot of passion and conviction. And then you can go 5 seconds later and find someone else telling you to do the exact opposite thing with the same level of passion and conviction. There are an infinite number of sources of information that have very contradictory messages and can lead you down a lot of different paths. And for a long time, I just fell into the overabundance. I did not vet who I was listening to. I just tried to absorb as much advice and guidance as I could. And it was so confusing and disorienting because I was trying to learn from everyone when I had not vetted their credibility. I did not know if they were actually someone worth learning from. And eventually, I really tried to fix that problem by vetting who I was listening to an extreme degree. I was very particular about I am going to choose who one person to learn from in this specific area, and I'm going to select that person based on how well their proof demonstrates they know what they're talking about. Have they actually done the thing I want to learn how to do? And that seemed to fix my problem. But then the next step was trying to learn from them and not being able to separate my ego, disregard my own thoughts, and just take action on what they tell me to do. It's very easy to fall into this trap, especially if you're ambitious and you're driven and you think that you are intelligent and know what you're talking about, where you hear someone else's advice who has clearly demonstrated they know what they're talking about, and yet you still convince yourself, no, that's not true. I know better than them, when you have no proof that you know better than them. I did this a lot, and I still do, probably, realistically. And it just results in, even though I'm learning, I'm absorbing information and guidance. I'm not actually taking action on what I'm learning, which means I'm not changing my behavior in any way. I'm not genuinely learning. I'm just wasting time absorbing information in a way that feels productive but is ultimately procrastination. And that brought me to the third attempt at optimizing how I learn, which was saying, fuck that. I am just going to take action on what the one person I've selected, who I've carefully vetted and know to, and I have proof that they know what they're talking about. I'm going to take action on what they say without a second thought. I'm not going to give it any sort of critical thought. I am just going to completely go all in on their guidance. And I thought that was the solution. I thought that was the thing that eventually would allow me to become someone who has my own proof and who can confidently trust my own authority and autonomy because I have proof that I know what I'm talking about. But that has created another issue where the reality is the people that you are learning from do not know your internal world. They do not know your values deeply. They don't know your vision. They don't know your true goals or what drives you, what's truly important to you. And there's always going to be a level of disconnect, even if it's one-on-one conversation in which they really try to understand these things. There's always a high risk. There will always be a risk that the direction they're guiding you towards is not actually the direction you want to go. And that is a hard thing to discern because sometimes the resistance you feel to doing what they say is just because it's hard or uncomfortable or painful. But sometimes the resistance is real. It's because they are trying to get you to go in a direction they think you should go, but which is actually contradictory to where you want to be. And identifying whether this resistance is legitimate and rational or whether it is simply an attempt to avoid discomfort, that is a hard thing to do. I think this applies to anyone listening this far into the episode, at least. I think if you're listening this far into this podcast, you're clearly someone who cares about learning and improving and growing. You want to learn how to be a better, more effective person at something, at whatever you care about. Whether that's very general things of you're building a business and you want to learn the skill sets that go into that, you want to learn how to build a business effectively. You want to get better with your finances. You want to improve your health, and you're getting all of this contradictory information about diet or exercise. Or maybe it's a very specific thing. Like you want to learn how to use this function in Excel more effectively. You want to learn how to throw a right hook in boxing in a way that delivers a lot of power. No matter what the scale of the thing you're trying to learn, we all want to learn how to be better. And we are all just overwhelmed by this abundance of useless information. And it is very difficult to discern who we should learn from and how to learn from them effectively. Now, I cannot pretend like I've solved this problem, but I've been thinking about it and I have attempted to make a practical system for learning without sacrificing autonomy. It's 3 steps I'm going to try to implement into my life. Step 1 is being extremely selective with who I am learning from. I already kind of talked about this, but there are so many people who claim they know what they're talking about and who have no credibility that they know what they're talking about. And to some degree, if I hear someone tell me something and their advice is valuable, I shouldn't dismiss it just because they haven't perfectly fallen into this vetting process. But when I'm actively trying to learn, pick one person who has proven that they've done the thing you want to do, that they know what they're talking about, and only learn from that one person, at least for a determined period of time. Stop letting in outside noise, be selective, and once you're selective, go all in. And once I go all in, don't just learn. That's step two. It's not about learning, it's about implementation. It's about taking action on what they say to do. Learning is useless if it doesn't change behavior. And so once you've selected your source, identify how can I take what they're telling me to do and apply it to my life? What is the tangible action step that I need to take and test? And step three is recognizing when there is resistance to what they're telling me to do. Instead of saying, oh, I must disagree with this. I don't think they're accurate. I don't think they're right. And just listening to this vague feeling, I'm going to try to attempt to answer two questions very directly. One is, what are they telling me to do? And why are they telling me to do it? And question two is, why do I disagree with them? What is my resistance rooted in? Why do I think they're wrong? And be very clear of map out exactly why I don't think they are correct and why I don't think I should do that. And then if it's someone that I can learn from directly, take that and show it to them. Say, I don't think I fully agree with what you're saying. Here's why. Can you tell me why I'm wrong? And after doing so, I will either know that what I am feeling, that resistance, is purely me trying to avoid discomfort, or is my inability to relinquish my own ego and just humble myself and take someone's guidance, or there's a legitimate gap between what they're telling me to do and where I actually want to go or what I should be doing. Hopefully that will help me actually learn effectively from other people without just letting them control my life and steamroll me and send me in a direction that I don't actually want to go. And hopefully talking this through has helped you get a little better at learning and applying that information in your own life in a way that allows you to keep your autonomy. I hope that me trying to answer this question provided some value to you. I genuinely appreciate your attention and your time. You started this podcast. It is very bare bones. I'm still trying to figure it all out. If you gave me your attention, I value it a lot, and I am thankful. If you want to see more episodes like this on a weekly basis, where I just attempt to explore and answer questions related to transformation, growth, self-mastery, definitely subscribe. I will be continuing to post. If you are a driven man in your 20s who struggles with compulsion, you find yourself stuck in a cycle of starting strong, self-sabotaging, feeling shame, and resetting, and you want to break free from that cycle, head on over to progresstheory.com. I help men overcome their compulsive behaviors, build daily structure, and create real momentum in their life. And until next time, I wish you all the progress you are trying to create in your life, and I will see you in the next episode.